Yeah.
All right, so I think this is of the
Yeah.
episode 4 of the
Yep.
Elitist Pizza Podcast. So today we're going to be reviewing. We're going to be continuing with our MCU reviews with the
Yep.
review of the 2008 version of the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. I I was pretty excited going into this movie, and then watching it, I was like, not so excited.
So, what were your expectations for this movie?
Um, I don't honestly. I mean, I don't remember it being all that good, so I kind of went in there with very kind of low expectations. So I guess in that regard, it met my expectations. But after we watched Iron Man, I was like, maybe it'll be like another kind of hidden gem type of thing, where it's like it's kind of better than I remember, which it is
Yeah,
a little bit. But what about you? What did you think?
I had pretty low expectations going into it because I saw it when I saw it in the movies when I was like, I guess I should have been 7 or 6 at the time in 2008, and I vaguely remember it being okay. And I had pretty low standards, as a kid. So I was like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
And the fact that, I mean, it, of course, I didn't watch it pirated on YouTube. That would be illegal. But it was pirated on YouTube. And the fact that you can get a full movie on YouTube, that tells me that it's probably not that good if, like, the studio doesn't care about the intellectual
yeah, yeah.
property.
I saw like multiple copies. While I was doing my research, of course, I would never pirate anything.
So
Maybe
I
times.
purchased it on YouTube and watched it as a good
Yeah,
citizen.
yeah. So did I. I rented it. I didn't buy it because
So,
buying it is kind of whack.
yeah, that's just especially. All right, so let's get into it. The latest pizza podcast brought to you by Costco. I don't always drink bottled water, but when I do, I drink Kirkland brand bottled water.
And when I drink
Fun.
Kirkland brand bottled water, it's from Costco.
I don't think you can buy it anywhere other than
That's
Costco.
this is my Kirkland brand bottled water right here.
Wait, I don't think you can get Kirkland brand anything except for from Costco, right? Or can you buy it somewhere else?
Um, I don't know. I'm not really. I think it's only at Costco. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
No, I think it's Costco's thing. All right, but anyway, so someday Costco hits up. I don't think they'd
Yeah.
ever do any sort of endorsement deals. So.
No. And if they did, certainly not for us. They'd watch
Not with
like
that
20
attitude.
minutes to an episode. They'd be like, "Yeah, these guys talking about sexual assault. Man, get them out of here.
But,
Cancel."
but we need to bring awareness to problems. Well, we were actually talking about racism, and
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
against racism, and it's quite frankly, it's racist that we haven't gotten a sponsorship yet.
I
Costco,
like the way you're thinking.
Costco was 20 minutes into it, and they were like, I like what they're saying, but he's just too black. I mean,
Yeah, I remember we had that meeting, and they were like, "I mean, if you could get like a lighter skinned host, that would have been so nice."
they offered to fire you, but as a strong, um, racial egalitarian, I wasn't willing to do that.
Yeah,
Now
thank you, thank you for that.
they are going to sponsor my new podcast with um, a slightly lighter skin.
Oh, literally me, but like
It's
I
like,
show up at like white face. I'm like, "Hey, everybody."
hello, how are you? Okay, but on to the review. So it starts out and it shows Bruce Banner living in Brazil. It's
Wait,
like,
wait. A little bit before that, it shows him in his like first transformation, and he's like, it's like in the credits or whatever, and you see like kind of what's happening. They're like wrecking everything.
yeah, and it's got like a corkboard, like they're like the army is trying to track him down like 5 months. So it kind of sets it up. The Hulk is being pursued, and it kind of is just sort of assumed, I guess. And so Bruce Banner is in Brazil, and he speaks a little Portuguese, and he works in like a bottling plant,
Yeah, and he
and
has it transformed in 130. That's 135, I think, or 138, something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Days, and he's been learning how to control his anger and
yeah,
doing all his
yeah,
breathing,
because
meditating.
he went to like some sort of monk maybe he's like a capoeira martial artist or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and he's like teaching him how to breathe and stuff. And he has like a heart rate monitor. Um, I mean, that part was okay. I mean, I believed it. I was like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's like he's like fixing some electric stuff on him. He's like, you're too smart to do day labor. We should put you on salary or something. And that was fine. I thought that was fine. And then we have the entire. What did you have any problems with that part?
No, it was cool. And then yeah, it was fine. For a little bit.
I almost they start talking about his girlfriend or his wife. I guess they're not
Yeah,
married.
Betty. Yeah.
And later, I feel like they should have set that up at the beginning. Like maybe he should have had like a flashback or something, and maybe like some chick should have hit on him, and he should have been like, "No, I already
Yeah.
have someone," and you could have had like a flashback just to set it up a
Because he
little
had that.
before.
He was working with that girl who
Yeah,
should
they
not have
had
been
some.
working with him. That freaking supermodel chick. I
Yeah,
don't
she
know.
was.
I don't know who she was. She was like really beautiful. I was like, bro, what is she doing here? Like, she could get a job literally anywhere else.
Uh, that's true,
That was
especially
wild.
in. I don't know. I assume that Brazil's probably a pretty misogynistic society. I'm sure that she could get at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
hook up with some rich dude or something.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. No, yeah.
so the army, this is my biggest problem with it, is the antagonist. There's no motivation. It's just like, maybe
Well, yeah.
but it's just like, I don't even know what the general's name is. What's the general's name?
General Ross.
Ross.
He's Betty's dad.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
But it's like
he was
he just
there.
hates him to hate him.
Well,
That's what
no,
it
no.
seems like.
In the beginning, he was there when he was transforming and kind of wrecking everything. And Betty got hurt, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you kind of wrecked everything with mine." It was kind of weak, but it was still like it was like in the very beginning where he was like the first
But
transformation when he was like wrecking everything.
it was pretty
Or it
obvious.
was like
Wasn't it like obviously like a result of a faulty medical experiment, right? So it's just like,
yeah, it was the general's fault because well later like we found out later in the movie that like he tricked Banner into thinking that the experiment was something else, but it was actually like to create like a military super soldier. So it was entirely his fault, but he's over here mad at Banner. So
exactly. And I
it's
mean,
crazy.
that was something that the first Iron Man movie suffered from, is bad character motivations, or lack thereof, really. And so the army is pretty much goes after him, and they find out like
Yeah, they find out where he works because
blood goes in a bottle, and then someone drinks that bottle, and they're like, oh, this
yeah,
is
good old
Banner's blood. So he's in
Stan
the
Lee,
yeah, Stan Lee, and he's in the bottling plant, which is kind of weird, but it's fine. And so they send like a SWAT team in after him,
and
and
he's running on the rooftops and stuff, right?
yeah, and I like that scene. I thought that was kind of cool. The
Yeah,
action
and
in
he's
this
checking
movie
his
is
heart
good.
rate too.
Yeah, to make sure to, I like the action in this movie. That part was cool. And then he gets in like a fight, kind of like gets in a fight with, so I said back up. So when he's in the plant, the supermodel chick is like being harassed by some dudes, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, you get off of her!" And he's Edward Norton, right? He's this skinny white guy, and they're
yeah,
like, mind your own business, bingo, or something. And he's like, I'll get angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. Of course,
yeah, something like that.
Hulk always has, Bruce Banner always has to say that. And
Yeah,
they set that up. And then so when he's running away from the army, he runs into these guys and they start like beating him up in the plant, like after hours. And then he turns into the Hulk and starts fighting everybody. I like that scene. They
yeah,
kind of
um,
made you wait to see him.
yeah. That I like that. But another thing I really like about that scene is like it shows how like menacing like the Hulk is, like and how like the Hulk in the newer movies I don't get too much into. He's kind of like a goofball. So
Yeah.
to see him back when he was like still kind of like menacing and like scary,
He
it's
was a
good
force to
because
be
like
reckoned with.
yeah, like the Hulk is like you can't you never know what you're gonna get. Like you never know whose side he's really gonna be on. He's kind of just there to just wreck stuff. And I think they did a good job with that throughout the movie of just showing the Hulk as more of like a force of nature, not really having any motivations other than wanting to be left alone and just wanting to destroy any and everybody that's trying to stop him from being left alone.
That was something that I really liked about the casting of Edward Norton in this too, because he's such a skinny guy. Like I
Yeah,
would
it's
like Edward Norton isn't physically intimidating at all. So and he looks like a smart guy. I mean, I don't know if he's a really smart guy or not, but
yeah.
And so whenever he's getting beat up, you almost like you can see what like, dude, this guy's not going to do anything. So it almost is more satisfying, like whenever he turns into the Hulk and starts beating everybody up.
Yeah, and
Um,
they did a good job of introducing Emil Blonsky, the Russian dude. He was Russian, right? I forgot
I
who he
didn't know.
was.
I didn't even get his name. I didn't even think they did a good job at that because it seemed like that he just hated Bruce Banner to hate Bruce Banner too.
Well, it was like I don't think he really even hated the Hulk. It was more of like he's just do. At first, he was just doing a job, and then he saw him transform. He was like, "Oh, that's kind of tight. I want to do that too." He was like the beginning part with him was good, where he was like still like even after Bruce Banner changed to the Hulk, and he was still like chasing after him and all that, even though knowing he couldn't stop him, doing his job. Like that part was good, but later on, it's like
Well,
it gets
let's
kind
get
of
to
weird.
that. Well, let's get to that later. That's when he's at like the university or something, right?
No, I'm talking about when no in the bottling plant
Oh,
when they're all
okay.
fighting the Hulk, he's like one of the only people still going after him.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
see
and then
that. And that
he's
was
like
kind of cool, but it was kind of ridiculous because it's like, how is this guy? The Hulk could have easily. He just had
yeah,
the guy just had plot armor. Like the Hulk could have easily like killed
yeah,
him. But
just grabbed him and popped his head off.
so the Hulk escapes and then he wakes up and then he wakes up as Bruce Banner in Guatemala, and like a good Samaritan picks him up. And he also
Yeah,
speaks Spanish too. I mean, how many languages does this
this
guy
guy
know?
is man,
But
he's just the best, I guess.
and then he gets pants. So I'm like, how did he get the money for the pants? I don't know.
Probably just
Maybe,
stole him. I don't know. Oh
but
no,
like he,
he was begging for a while too.
oh, I don't know. I feel like maybe it would have been cooler if like they did like it doesn't even say how he gets to the United States either. So
He was just begging his way
you
and
know,
getting a lot of money, and then he just shows up one day.
maybe he should have been like begging and hitchhiking or something, and then he gets kidnapped by like some thugs. That would have been cool. Like, what if there's
Yeah,
like a Guatemalan cartel members or something, and they're like, they start fucking with him, maybe, and that might have been a cool scene too. But um, whatever. So he gets to the U.S. and it's not. I guess he's in New York.
no, he's in I believe he was in Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not at
yeah.
he's not in New York yet.
Oh, so he goes to Virginia and he like meets up with his former boss, I guess. And that's like a pizza guy who owns a pizzeria. And that's like I was thinking like that's like if the army was competent, they would have been like, oh, we found Bruce Banner. Oh, he's not in Brazil anymore. Let's go check with his former known associates. Like they gotta have a
Yeah,
file on these guys. Like, that's the dumbest thing you can do as a fugitive.
yeah,
But so that happens. And then
and
he goes to like this school, right? He goes to like this university or something with
yeah,
a
yeah.
lab.
But hold on, before that, um, you got to remember the part with Emil Blonsky. He was getting the like pseudo super soldier serums injected into him right before this. You remember that he was getting like the
No.
super soldier. You don't remember that? He's getting the super soldier serum like injected into his body.
Well, the one I watched was like they like chopped it up. I mean, the not pirated one I watched, it was like chopped up. So
So, oh,
I thought they just skipped because it looked like they just skipped like unnecessary things. So he got
oh,
the so he got the super soldier serum. Oh, okay. Well, that makes one because I was kind of confused because
yeah, but it was like a little reference to Captain America, and it was like they've been developing it since, obviously trying to perfect that one, but he just like Ross, he just like grabbed a bunch of like random ones, and he was like, all right, we're just gonna stick this needle here and this needle here, and then this one, it was like real painful. He was like,
that's another thing too, is that
and it was like, and it starts like driving him crazy.
Ross almost has like free reign in the movie, and I don't. No, I was never been a soldier in the army or anything, but I'm pretty sure that like there's more regulation of this. It's almost like this is like a black. Maybe it's best if I move on. So Bruce Banner goes to some sort of university, and the army moves in, and they come in with like these armored fucking these APCs, these Humvees, and just rolling up on a school, and like that does not seem like something that like seems realistic. And they come in, so they show up at the school, and
You gotta think though. They're taking on the Hulk. Like, what do you want them to bring? Like two guys and like a pistol, and they could share the
okay,
pistol and like share a couple bullets.
but like think of the
Because Bruce,
PR, but this is isn't it supposed to be a secret? Like, you don't think
The Hulk.
someone's gonna be out there and be like, I'm using my iPhone. I don't know when were iPhones even out at this point in time?
I
I
think
think the first
so.
iPhone came out. I'm gonna be using my, disposable early 2000s camera to take pictures of these APCs that are rolling up at my university. I mean, that's bad publicity. Like, the army doesn't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
around doing that stuff. But anyway, so they shoot like tear gas into like this bridge that they get Bruce Banner in, and then he turns into Hulk and pretty much just destroys everything.
Hold on, you're
And
forgetting a lot of stuff. He
oh,
was there. He's at the
I'll let
university to see
okay.
Betty. One and two, he was trying to get the because he was sharing information to get a cure with his
Mhm.
other guy, Mr. Blue, and they were like kind of exchanging information. And the army like they wiped all that stuff from his computer when he got there, and he
Mhm.
found a flat. But Betty got a flash drive of it before before it all got deleted because of plot. And so before the military showed up, this man Bruce swallows it. So you're forgetting that important part. He swallowed it
All
for
right.
some reason. Um,
You just knew.
yeah. Um,
Does the Hulk ever like poop? Like, what's that look like?
I don't. I wouldn't want to know.
Yeah, whatever. But okay. Well, how about you just you? I'm gonna give the rein to you. So you keep talking about the plot, and we'll go through it with you.
Okay, so where were we at? The university part. So they
Yeah.
shoot the tear gas in there, and he's kind of going out a little bit, but he's seeing like Betty being hurt, and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of mad about this, and he jumps out, does this little Hulk thing, and it starts like ripping up tanks and stuff, and like they're trying to shoot at him, but obviously it's not working. He's like ripping them up and breaking them, and then this man, Emil Blonsky, he comes in like a tank, by the way, and he starts like the Hulk's trying to like hit him with like weapons and stuff, and he's like dodging all of it, like moving like super fast and like shooting him and stuff, and then he leads him to like these sonic cannons, and it almost works too, but then the Hulk's like, I'm the main character, and he does like a thunderclap type thing, and he like breaks all of them, and then the really stupid thing, Emil, he gets in his face. Well, I guess he gets to his like torso because he can't look him in the eye, and he starts like getting real cocky and starts talking that crap. And the Hulk, it's like probably the funniest thing in the movie. He like punts him into a tree
Yep.
and like
Yep.
splatters like a bug. It's so funny. It's just the way
What,
they did it was kind of funny to me. But
yeah. What did you think about the CGI in this movie?
oh, the CGI. Um, I'll say the Hulk looked fine, but like sometimes too. Like the Hulk
Sometimes.
looked fine sometimes, but other than that, it was pretty bad. Not as bad as the 2004 movie, but this one was pretty bad.
Yeah, the CGI was pretty bad, but it's like they tried to use practical effects whenever they could.
Yeah,
So, like in that scene when they're outside of that school, he like the Hulk like throws something at two Humvees that are next to each other, and then it goes to a shot of like the two Humvees, and then one Humvee runs into another one. It's like when the Hulk threw it was CGI, but like those were real Humvees. So they
yeah,
used just enough practical effects because like they knew the CGI wasn't that good. And you can't really do like in the 80s they had like a Hulk show and they didn't use CGI, they just used like makeup and it was horrible. So you have to pretty much use CGI with the Hulk. So I don't really blame them,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it
It's not their
doesn't really
fault.
hold up that good. Um, it's not like so bad that you can't enjoy it, but you're just
Yeah,
like, especially from 2020 perspective, it's just like, yeah, this really isn't that good
yeah.
CGI,
We'll get
but it's
to
fine.
we'll get to like the probably some of the worst part
Yeah,
with the big fight, but we'll get there when we get there because that was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
but I did
It was
think
entertaining,
yeah,
but
yeah,
Abomination looked like an abomination. It looked really nasty.
yeah, not in the right way that you're supposed to
Yeah.
be. All right, so continue with the plot unless you want to talk more
So
about the
yeah, he
scene.
kicks this man Emil Blonsky into a tree. He picks up and then I forgot what it was. It was like a bomb or a grenade or something. Oh no, two of the Humvees were about to explode or something. And Ross's daughter was right there. So Hulk's like, nah, I'm a protector. And he protected her and then he just jumps off to like a cave somewhere. And they're in the cave and he's like he's being all emo, he's like got the rain in his face and everything, and he goes out for some reason, he's like howling at the moon. I didn't know the Hulk did that, but he did that for some reason. He's
Yeah,
like at the moon, and then Betty gets him down to calm down a little bit, and they're like kind of like sitting there meditating or whatever. Then it goes to the next part where it's the morning and they're basically both on the run now. So they're doing some stuff, they get a boat, to go to New York so he can meet
Blue.
Mr. Blue. Yeah, so he can get the cure. Because he doesn't, and he says
He
it.
doesn't
I think he
want to
says
be
it
the
at this
Hulk.
part. Yeah, he says he doesn't want to control it. He wants to get rid of the Hulk. Um, and then we cut to Emil Blonsky. I think we get to Emil Blonsky's part where it's like he's in the hospital. This man should be dead, but he's like fine. At this one part, he's got like cast and everything all over his body. And then the next time we see him, he's like out of the cast, and they're like, "Yo, that was like an inhuman recovery. Like, what's going on with you?" He's like, "I'm just built different."
I'm just
But then we see that he's like literally built different, and he's like he started having like weird problems with like his skeleton, like his spine started poking out really badly, and his shoulders look kind of weird. And then so I believe they go. Well, before we get to the next part, we should talk about I guess um, you know what do you remember any of the things I'm saying right now?
No,
Or
I didn't. I don't remember that guy becoming. I don't remember that guy getting the super soldier serum. Maybe I just
okay,
blocked it out because I was bored. But
yeah, it was yeah he got that and he started like, but it was like defective. So it's like so he was going. Not only was he like like getting a bunch of getting deformed and all that, he's just going crazy. Like he was like
yeah, he
he
was
was
having some.
slowly
Yeah,
yeah
he
he
was
was slowly
getting.
getting crazy, slowly disobeying orders and all that, which we'll see in the next and probably the next couple of scenes that we talk about. But so Banner and Betty they go meet this guy Mr. Blue, and they have to take some of Hulk's blood so they can synthesize a cure or whatever. And so Banner has to Hulk out. Betty's hulking out, and Betty's like, "Yo, just calm down a little bit." So what's I'm
So
saying? So they're synthesizing the cure. You remember this part though, right? All right. So they're synthesizing the cure, and he's like, "Yo, it worked." And basically, what's going on is what happened? They we find out that Mr. Blue wants to use his blood to like cure other diseases around the world, type thing. And Banner's like, "Yo, you can't do that. That's way too dangerous because you could have, he could potentially have millions of people starting to freaking Hulk out. That's not going to be good. I mean, it'd make for a cool movie, but
and he's
obviously
like,
it's
we
not a
have
good
to
idea.
burn this whole place down.
Yeah,
And instantly after that, like the military shows up.
yeah, and so yeah, they're there like surveying everything, and Ross is like, "Yo, don't go in there yet." And then Emil Blonsky's like, "I'm insane. I'm gonna do whatever I feel like doing." So he runs up the stairs with his super soldier powers, and he starts like, he's like, "Yo, Banner, what you doing, homie?" And they're like, "All right, we're gonna have to fast track this." So they shoot Bruce
Shoot.
Banner with a dart, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay, I guess I'm not gonna Hulk out now." He goes to sleep, and they actually take him pretty easily. But you see Emil getting like kind of angry that he didn't get to fight the Hulk type thing. So
Mhm.
he's like trying to slap him awake, and he's like, "Yo, come on now, we gotta
I
fight."
almost, and I really don't like. I mean, I guess they set it up right. He's crazy, but like, if your antagonist, unless he's like the Joker or something, having an antagonist that's just crazy, I think is really bad writing. Like,
It is.
you
It's
have
pretty
a,
lazy. The Abomination is kind of like that, but I mean, I'm not like the biggest Hulk guy, so I'm assuming that like when he was like a regular dude, he wasn't like that until he like transformed into the Abomination. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I feel like
I mean,
it's kind of you see that in a lot of the earlier movies. They're like a lot of the earlier Marvel films. It's like the villain's like I'm evil because I'm crazy,
yeah. I
and
mean, yeah.
and then yeah, so he's mad he doesn't get to fight the Hulk, and the rest of the army leaves. I guess he's still there for some reason, and he gets to Mr. Blue and he's like, "Yo, uh, yeah, go ahead and inject me with some
You're
more
right.
Hulk
That
blood."
actually has a really big plot hole. That like, why would the army just leave him there? Oh, we have one of our assets in with one of our most prized targets because we want to make super soldiers. Well, let's just go ahead and leave him there.
Yeah, I mean, he makes his way back to the rest of them after a while, but they like he's there long enough to be like, "Yo, give me some more Hulk blood," and they do like a whole operation, a whole like medical operation type thing. Um, and it's kind of
They
weak.
they
Like it
pretty
doesn't make.
much like
Yeah, go ahead.
they pretty much like this Russian guy. It's pretty much like, hey, you will inject me with these things to make me Hulk, and I guess he just has a real like hate going on for Bruce Banner. So he's like, I want to be just like him. Inject me with the stuff, and
Yeah, he wants to be. He wants to
he
be
just
a super duper soldier.
yeah. And so he goes into Abomination, and like his bones start going out of his body and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah. He's not Abomination yet, but he's like, he's putting on like a brave face. And
yeah,
then the other soldiers are like, he comes back and they're like, yo, what are you doing? And then he just kills somebody. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. Like it doesn't make too much sense. He's like, oh, I don't want to be found out, so let me just kill you, where everybody's gonna find out that it was just me. And then he turns to the Abomination. Again, I don't understand why the rest of the military isn't around him. He's not. I don't think he's on the base anymore. But they've got Banner on a plane, right? And they're flying away from New York. And
I think it was a
they look
helicopter.
on the TV, and they're or whatever, and they're like, oh, there's another Hulk rampaging through the city, and Ross, I guess, finally realizes, oh snap, we left Emil Blonsky. I mean, he's only just our most important soldier. We just left him for no reason. This guy, and now he's the other Hulk. And so Banner kind of convinces him to be like, yo, I mean, um, I can stop because to their knowledge, they don't know about the rest of the other superheroes, so it's kind of just him. So they're like, yo, he's like, yo, I'll go in there, I'll go beat up this dude if you guys will let me. And they're like, sure. And then he has that cool moment with Betty. He kisses her, and then he like falls out of the plane, and he like lands in like a crater, and then the Hulk comes out, which I thought was pretty dope. And then we get to the big CGI fight, which it was all right, but it was like it's pretty dated now that now that we're talking about it now in 2020. It's pretty bad. Um,
And I mean, it's not even that really that creative. I mean, even if we say, okay, let's forget about how bad the CGI is, it's really not even that good. They just punch
no,
each other, throw each other through New York, and
the only thing that was cool about it was that they're showing that the Abomination is like clearly stronger and faster than the Hulk, so the
yeah.
Hulk had to outsmart him, which is accurate to the comics. But they could have it. Now I'm not gonna go too hard on it because it's kind of hard to do like a really sophisticated like good fight scene with like two just massive hulking monsters. It's kind of hard to do that. I think the best fight scenes, I think there's always got to be something behind it. Banner's fighting him because he has to. Emil wants to fight Banner. There's not really much to go on there, so it's not really like a good fight scene. Like a good fight scene happens when there's motivation on both character sides. Banner, he's kind of reluctantly fighting him. He's like, I have to fight you, so I'm going to. And Emil wants to. But maybe if Banner had a reason to fight Emil, the fight scene would have been, it could have, been taught, Emil could have been taunting him. Oh, maybe he's got, oh yeah, I put Betty in a headlock and I'm fighting you and I'm beating the crap out of you or something. Or, yeah, she loves me now or so. I don't know. Something better than just, oh, I kind of have to fight him, so I guess I will. The fight wasn't all too creative, but then again, it's like, what really can you do? They're just two big things, kind of like
I
throwing
think they
stuff at
could
each
have
other.
leaned. I think they could have leaned more into like the hey, these are two crazy monsters thing, right? Like they could have like destroyed buildings, like do like the King Kong thing, where like they're on like the Empire State Building. Like, what if Hulk went on top of the Empire State Building? He's like, "Come get me, dumbass!" And, and
Way
like
down there.
and
What's
like
with you people? Have you
Yo,
not
yo,
played
yo,
this
yo,
game
yo, yo, yo,
before?
yo, yo.
Sorry. Jesus.
and like the Abomination has to climb up on top of it or something, and then Hulk like jumps off and like kicks him in the face, and they're falling all the way down, and they create like this crater. And I mean, you could have just done cool stuff like that. They didn't even have to
Yeah,
like necessarily make too much sense as long as it looked cool.
yeah, it
And
was kind of cool, but like they started pulling out like weird weapons and stuff. Like I know Hulk was using like this is cool. He got like these knuckle dusters that he made. I was like, it's kind of
yeah,
cool. Like
of
it's something that
course,
I think the Hulk kind of would have done. But then Emil Blonsky gets like this what do you call it? The little it's called like a flail or something like that, or a mace rather.
yeah. I
He gets
think
on
it's
like these
flail.
weird,
He uses
yeah,
a
one of those.
chain, a big
Yeah, yeah,
chain.
yeah. And he starts whipping him with it, and then the Hulk's like, wait a minute, I'm the main character. and then he gets just enough strength to beat him.
And he chokes him out, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, he was really a good guy, and then he disappears.
Yeah, because the military's like,
upstate
okay,
New
the
York.
military's like, oh, thanks, we're still gonna come get you now.
And
Then
the conclusion's kind of cool. So he goes to like this cabin in like upstate New York or something, or Alaska. They don't really say where.
yeah,
And he's just like meditating, and that's kind of cool.
and then he's about to like, it's like days without accidents, and then it dropped back down to 0, showing that like he's got a little bit more control. Like it seemed like he was actively trying to
Yeah.
become the Hulk and control it, which I thought was cool. I like I like the premise of, Banner learning that he kind of has to accept the fact that he has to bear this kind of curse type thing, and that he can use the Hulk for good reasons, and that he can try to control it, which I would have loved to see more in the MCU, because later on it's like literally all that character development that we had with Banner and the Hulk was like thrown out of the window when Avengers rolled out. It was like
earlier,
he had a little control, but it wasn't. It was like in Infinity War, for example, they were fighting over control. I'm not going to get too deep into that yet, but
when we were talking about it earlier, you said that like I think it was a really good idea, but just poor execution, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think Edward Norton was good for this role, like I said earlier, and I have a real hard on for Edward Norton, I guess.
no,
And,
Edward Norton is a fantastic actor. I started watching a lot more of his movies. He's really good.
And yeah, and I mean, he was good. I've only seen him in Fight Club, and he's good in Fight Club. But so the idea of like, oh, we have to deal with I mean, the Hulk is all about like the duality of man, right? And almost like he's almost kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde
Yeah,
type thing.
he's exactly like that.
Yeah, and
He's based exactly on that, and they didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
And
later down the line, it wasn't like they didn't really understand that kind of thing. It was like they're trying to do too much.
Yeah, they had too much in not enough time. I mean, I think I understand you kind of had to. It's like maybe they should have just kept it to the army thing and didn't have the abomination thing in it.
Yeah, they could have built the abomination later. They could have maybe hinted at Emil Blonsky being there. Oh, and let me before we get to talking more about this, let me talk about the post credit scene. So, this movie came out 2008, right?
2008. It was like right after.
Yeah, so
it was
for
like a month or
12
two after Iron
years,
Man.
12 years, I had no idea Tony Stark was in this movie at the end.
Yeah, me neither. And and they never build on it because so Tony Stark goes to Ross and he pretty much says, "Hey, I hear you have a problem." So according to the Hulk, and we have something to deal with it.
Yeah, we're building a team.
Yeah,
and it's kind of weird because it's like that's what Nick Fury would say, but apparently, so I was reading up on it. So apparently, there was a week, so the event of Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor all took place within the same week, which is insane.
Yeah.
So apparently, it's supposed to hint at that, which doesn't make any sense because this was before Iron Man 2 came out. Iron Man 2 came out, what, like 3 years later, 2 years later?
Yeah, something like that.
It was like 2 years. I think.
And the Hulk wasn't until after Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
right?
No, Hulk was after Iron Man
Thor.
1.
I'm sorry, Thor.
Yeah. It was weird, but we'll go more into the rating, but I actually would have liked to see what they would have done with Edward Norton's Hulk in the MCU. I think they could have done some really cool things. I heard that he was like kind of a pain to work with, so that's why they got rid of him.
Yeah, I'm looking into it right now. I mean, it said that he wanted to control the script too much.
Well, I think that would have probably been a better idea because whoever wrote this one is kind of dookie.
Sounds like that Norton was really on the right path because he's like, because it said that like Norton was like, hey, some people were trying to mess with the script and they really made it worse, and it looks like that he was probably right. I mean,
obviously he's right, and I think that Norton. I don't know if he reads comics, but clearly he did his research for the character because he did a good job. He did a good job for what he was given.
He said that he
very
grew up
obvious that he
reading
grew up what?
comics.
Okay.
In the Hulk comics.
Well, then there you go. Well, then obviously, it's very obvious in his performance that he did his research and that he understands the character better. So I think maybe if they would have let him write the script, it would have been a way better movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like he's the only character in this film that makes any sense at all, like with motivation and just things that are going on. He's
He's
one of the
and he's the best actor, really. I
oh
mean,
by far the best actor. Ross, I mean Ross, he's such like I literally forgot about Ross until Civil. Have you seen Civil War? So Ross is actually in that movie. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, even though there's not much to go into, to be honest. But you'll see when we get there. It's kind of like oh hey I remember him, and then that's it. But
yeah, I mean,
I forgot about him. He's so forgettable. Like they could have casted somebody else in Civil War, and I wouldn't have known the difference.
yeah, it's just
And same thing. Now I know they don't have the rights to do the Hulk solo Hulk movie, so I know they had to take some liberties with certain things. But again, I think it would have been really interesting to see Edward Norton's Hulk in the MCU because I think it would have been vastly different, especially in the later films with or with them fighting over control. I don't think that would have been happening too much, just because of the whole arc he went through in his solo movie.
yeah. Because I mean, I don't know where they could have taken it because they already kind of said that he was being better at controlling it. Maybe
I think
we could have had a second movie where maybe in the Avengers it's like a slight like, okay, I'll do this, but I don't want to do it. Then maybe he
yeah,
gets a second movie where he's like, maybe this isn't a curse, maybe this is a blessing. I can help people. I can do X, Y, and Z. I
yeah,
was thinking personally, because I really don't like the girlfriend angle. I think that what they should have done was, I think he should have actually killed her. Okay, so here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that you could have had him, maybe even in the beginning of the movie, he acts in his rage, he accidentally just kills that chick. And he's super depressed. He's like an alcoholic. He's like not like a Tony Stark high functioning alcoholic. I mean, like he is spending all of his money on like dime store liquor,
yeah, yeah,
and he's like super depressed. And then they come to get him, and he's like whatever, take me. And like, or he's like, I have nothing left to live for. He's like, shoot me now, and
yeah,
in the with the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, he says that he tried to kill himself, but the other guy spat it out. So maybe that's what happens. Like they try to shoot him, he turns into the Hulk, rages, and kills more people. He gets more depressed, and then the second movie, they pretty much like, hey, I get you have these problems, but we need you. The New York's gonna be destroyed. So he's like, whatever, and he does it. He doesn't really care. And the whole, have you ever been in like a group of people and one person just really has some serious problems,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just not the time to deal with it? Like you could have had that, and it's like, man, Banner, you got some real problems, but we got to worry about these aliens invading New York right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then and this Banner comes up and he's like in pajamas. He's already pissed himself. He's drinking like beer. He's got like 12 beers he's drinking. He's shit canned or something. And then like second Hawk movie, he realizes, okay, I shall have this trauma, but maybe Nick Shield gets him some therapy. And he like, this isn't a curse. This is a blessing, and I can help people with this. I need to get over this. But he still has this tragic character, and he like still has this thing where he's denying. I think that would have been a way cooler Hulk. Maybe
Yeah.
after the second one, we don't get any more standalone Hulk movies. But
So what I was thinking, because I've been thinking about this for a while. So I was thinking, I think they could have went with a whatever same plot as Avengers one, because it's kind of like they were building on what they had. Because like at the end, he was like, I'm always angry, and then just transforms without really, having to trigger anything. So, but what I would have done was in Avengers 2, instead of him just flying out to space in the Quinjet, whatever, I would have had them, like in the comics in the Planet Hulk storyline, I would have had him, maybe he ends up, hulking out at the wrong time or something. And they're like, okay, we really need to get him out of here. So they, instead of him going himself, they send him to Sakaar, just like in Planet Hulk. So it builds on that thing where he's like kind of mad about it, and he's on Sakaar, and he's like, they basically sent me to die, so
what
I'm just
if
gonna try to make the best out of this. And it could have set up World War Hulk, which I would have been that would have been so made me
so?
so
But
happy.
is Sakaar the planet that the invaders came from, or is it another planet?
It's the planet that Thor lands on in Ragnarok.
So what if instead? So They had the thing where Tony goes into like the wormhole, but what if instead like Hulk goes through it? What if he's just
Yeah.
beating up this ship and like the ship they're like, okay, we got to retreat and maybe we can deal with this guy back at base or something, but we're losing this battle. He goes back and he jumps off, right? And he through the wormhole, kind of similar to how it works in Thor Ragnarok, lands on Sakaar, and that's how they do it. And then we
Yeah.
get like, he spent just like in Thor Ragnarok, he spends a bunch of time as the Hulk, and so he like learns more about his psychology or something.
Yeah. I think that would
That
have
would have
been a
been
lot
way
better.
cooler.
Because I know they can't do it, but I wish we would have gotten a proper Planet Hulk story, because there's a lot that goes into it that I just don't think they could have done in Ragnarok. Especially with him, like he's going somewhere and he's dealing with beings that can they can actually hurt him with weapons, and he's forced into like slavery and being a gladiator, and he kind of likes it. Like he has no problem with being a gladiator, because it's like he already likes to fight. And then you can set up the whole thing with him leading a rebellion and taking over from the Red King, and actually him finding happiness. And then, have you read Planet Hulk, or am I just gonna?
I've seen like a YouTube video explaining what happens,
Okay,
but
so you know the
for the
part where
audience.
the ship blows up or whatever. So he's like enjoying himself, living life. He has a wife now. He's gonna have a son. Then the ship that he arrives
Wait, so
on,
is he in Hulk mode throughout this whole time?
yeah, he's in Hulk mode the whole time. The whole time.
Okay.
So he has a wife, and he's in Hulk mode or whatever, right? And he's like, oh man, this is great. I'm a king. I have a family. This is awesome. And the ship that the Avengers, well, not the Avengers, the Illuminati, which was Tony Stark. Um, the Illuminati in Marvel Comics is just a group of the smartest superheroes. It
Oh, okay.
changes, but the
I
core
was
people,
like, what?
yeah, the core people are usually they operate like the actual Illuminati. So they do covert missions, like they've destroyed like other universes, like killed trillions of people, because that universe is gonna like collide with their universe. So they do like real shady stuff, like
Okay.
sending the Hulk into space. So the core group is usually it was Iron Man, Black Bolt, Charles Xavier was supposed to be there, but he couldn't. I think Black Panther turned down the invitation. Um, Doctor Strange, Namor, and some other people, right? So then the ship blows up, and he's like, so he thinks it was intentional, right? And he's like, so you guys took away the one thing that made me happy. Okay, I got something for you. And he comes back to Earth. He's mad. He's super angry, and he comes back into Earth, and he starts like wrecking house. I would have loved to see that, because it would really show like the Hulk is really like a force of nature. Like when he's like really angry, you can't stop him. Black Bolt, he destroys Black Bolt. He destroys like all the X-Men. Like they called backup, and he still was beating the crap out of them. He beat like all the New York heroes. Doctor Strange called like a demon from like hell or something to take over his body, and then he got beat up too. Like he was beating up everybody. He beat the crap out of
And that would work towards him being a tragic character too.
yeah.
Because
And then
when he
maybe
turns into Bruce Banner again, he's like, "Oh my God, I killed all of I've destroyed my friends, and
yeah,
all right, like I killed.
because
How many people did I kill in New York? I Planet King. What are you talking about?
yeah.
Right, like
Because then he gets to a point where like he finds out that like they didn't even blow up his plane. Like one of the other guys that he was with on the planet, one of his friends on the Sakaar planet, blew up the plane just so they could see him like kill everybody. So
yeah,
then it could build into him being a tragic character. He's like, so I did all of this basically for nothing, ruined my relationships with my friends, and just
yeah.
beat the crap out of them for no reason. And it could have built on them
And
doing the
then
whole smart Hulk thing they did, where he combined his personality.
and then
They
and
could
then
have done
he
that.
and then he has this arc of like, I need to make it up to Earth. I need to make it up to New York. I need to make it up to my friends. So after that, he's on call. They're like, "Hey, Hulk, we need you." She's like, "Yep, I'm there,"
I'm
because he
all ready
feels so
for it.
bad. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he's like, I need to, make up. And so they're like, Hulk, you need to forgive yourself. And he's like, I will never forgive myself, or something like
yeah,
that.
because he did some messed up stuff. Because like he literally thought they sentenced him to death. So what he did, he constructed his own like coliseum, and he made them like the heroes fight each other. Because he was like, "This is what you guys did to me, so you
I
guys
don't
are
know if
gonna
they
do
should
it."
I don't know if they should
Not
go
not
that
all
far with
that,
it,
but
but
like just him like just wrecking everybody, and then realizing that like he really didn't have to do that, and they could have done so many things
Yeah.
differently, but obviously they can't now.
I guess the conclusion is that Edward Norton was a better Hulk, but the Hulk movie that he was in wasn't good. I think he was the only part about this movie. I mean, honestly, I think
Oh,
the only good part
absolutely.
about this movie. I think if you just had just anyone
If they
else,
put if they put even if they put Mark Ruffalo in the movie, it would have been
would have
I
been
won't say a
better.
lot worse because Mark Ruffalo's a good actor, but it wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mark Ruffalo. I think he's actually just kind of a good guy too. I've seen
Yeah.
stuff on his Twitter and stuff. And I mean, I don't have any problems with him, but Edward Norton just played it so much of a more
Yeah.
serious way, and it's just sad that we didn't get that. But um,
What can you do with these things?
I think he actually just looks more like Bruce Banner too from the comics.
Yeah. In my opinion, yeah, just a skinnier guy. I mean, I don't think Mark Ruffalo like works out or anything, but he's like a natural
He's
kind of
just got a
chubbier
bigger
guy.
build. I mean, he
Yeah,
just
he's like a
is.
little
Yeah.
bigger than him. He might have worked out for the film, but he does look a lot bigger than him.
But so we have our scale of eight. 8 pizza slices is like a phenomenal movie. Um, 1 pizza slice is awful. 4 is average. What do you give Incredible Hulk
Um,
2008?
so man, go. Oh man, that's hard. Okay, I'd probably give it like a. I really like Edward Norton's performance, so I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 2. I don't think it gets a 4.
I don't think it's a
I
4
don't
either.
like they're average like the Fast and the Furious movies. Those movies are pretty bad, but like those are 4s. Like the newer ones at least are like those are 4s. This
I
is like
haven't actually seen any of them. They just seem like awful
well, you're
movies to me.
you're
So,
you're lucky because
right.
I could get into all that, but just your average action movie where it's like The Rock shows up and he starts beating people up.
Yeah.
Those are like 4s. This movie is like a 2 or a 3. I don't want to give half slices, so I probably 2 seems a little too harsh, I think, but I think 3 is really that nice spot. But you could convince me otherwise into a 2 because I mean, you watch the movie and you can't even remember what happens because it's like a lot of the stuff is so forgettable.
Here's that.
It's
I mean,
just
there was like 5 minutes where I was just on my phone. I'm like, you know what? No, I need to actually sit through this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 3. I mean, it would be if it wasn't for just Edward Norton's really encapsulating the character of Bruce Banner, this would be a 1.
oh
But
yeah,
Edward
you
Norton
think so?
brings it up to a 3, and I'm just sad. We just built all this fan fiction around like this alternate universe for Edward
Yeah,
Norton, and I'm so sad we didn't get that. But I mean, I'm not. Mark Ruffalo does a good job.
yeah, he does a good job, but
He's no Edward
I
Norton.
yeah, it's sad seeing the whole kind of be like a joke almost.
Yeah.
But they took his character in an interesting direction, but it would have been a lot different with Edward Norton. But
Yeah.
that's what's good about revisiting these movies. We get to think about these things that we wouldn't have thought
Yeah.
of in 2008.
That's
I
true.
mean, I'm sure I would have been like,
With
oh yeah,
hindsight.
Planet Hulk. Yeah, I would have been like, Planet Hulk would be cool, but like, I wouldn't have really thought about it because we didn't really get it.
So it's a 3 out of 8. Would you say that people should go back and watch this movie?
If you guys don't have to watch this movie, I wouldn't go watch it. Honestly, if you really want to if you really want to experience the movie again, just watch our review. I mean, obviously, we did it better than anybody else could do it.
I mean,
Or just watch like a 10-minute
I would say
recap.
don't watch. Yeah, I would say watch a recap. I would say don't watch this movie. I mean,
I'm a little biased. I would say watch ours, maybe, but
well,
just if you want to
presumably
see the
they've already
scenes,
seen the whole thing. Just
yeah,
rewatch this whole review and
just
give it a
literally
like and
rewatch it. Like,
subscribe.
yeah, if you're watching right now, rewatch the review. Like, start over
Just
right
start
now.
over. It's best for the algorithm. But yeah, don't watch this movie. I mean,
Yeah, I would say not. I'd say not to watch it. It seems like these people, like with a lot of these characters in the MCU, seems like they don't. Sometimes they understand him a lot, and sometimes they don't. Seems like they don't really get the Hulk. Whoever was writing this movie,
yeah, they didn't get it.
they didn't get it. Edward
I feel
Norton
like
seemed to get it though.
I feel like some of the writers did, some of the writers didn't, because they had the duality thing
Yeah,
somewhat. Like they had their like their mind was in the right place, but the heart wasn't. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. It was just like they were just like, oh, cool, we get to make a Hulk movie. I know what the Hulk does. He runs around and smashes stuff. And then so the other guy's like, wait a minute, no, there's a little bit more to the character. And he's like, no. We'll
Like, oh, yeah,
we'll
we
fill in the
can-
story later. Just get the action
Yeah.
scenes done.
Well, this has been episode 4,
Yeah.
3 slices for the
3
Incredible
slices,
Hulk,
extra
2008.
slices. Tune in next time for our what are we doing? Our something great. I think we're doing the president one.
Yep,
We're doing the president thing.
probably.
Okay, yeah. Tune in for that, guys. You guys are really gonna like that. It's gonna be so fun.